The second point I'm going to make about the Aristeia is the way the hero of the Aristeia, and in Book 5 again this is Diomedes, steps out from that backdrop of the battle books and how his quality is demonstrated. That is, we're going to be moving here towards the third point, which is about what it means to have that quality. But we have to start with the backdrop of the baseline of the battle books. Then we look at how the quality of Diomedes and the other heroes who have Aristeia stands out, and then we evaluate it. So here's the way, for example, that we see Diomedes standing out from the rest of the warriors. We're coming into the scene as Aeneas, who will later, of course, in other legends go on to found Rome, is watching Diomedes. Aeneas is a Trojan, and so he's worried about what Diomedes, the Achaean, that is, the Greek, as we usually call them, is doing to the ranks of the Trojans. And he goes up to another Trojan named Pandaros. Now, as Aeneas saw him wrecking the ranks of warriors, he went on his way through the fighting and the spear's confusion, looking to see if he could find Pandaros the godlike. And he came upon the strong and blameless son of Lycaon. We're on page 132 in the Lattimore. This is line 166 and following of Book 5. He stood before him face to face and spoke a word to him. Pandaros, where now are your bow and your feathered arrows? Where your fame in which no man here dare contend with you, nor can any man in Lycia claim he is better? Come then, hold up your hands to Zeus and let go an arrow at this strong man, whoever he be, who does so much evil to the Trojans, since many and great are those whose knees he has broken. Unless this be some god who in wrath with the Trojans for offerings failed afflicts them, the wrath of a god is hard to deal with. So what we see is respect, albeit grudging respect, from this hero of the Trojans, Aeneas. The way that he sees Diomedes as such a threat indicates how far ahead of the rest of the warriors this warrior, Diomedes, who is having his Aristeia, is. This is going to point us forward to what happens in the level grinding in adventure games, adventure video games, and the way that heroes are made to stand out by the special deeds that they do through the grinding of these things called experience points that we'll talk about when we get to the video game portion of this module. And the third point I want to make about the Homeric Aristeia is the way it shades into thinking about what it means to be a good person, that is, the values that Greek warriors were supposed to uphold. So here we have part of what I'm calling the boss fight, the end of Diomedes' Aristeia, when he actually does fight Aeneas. We're on page 139 of the Lattimore, line 431 of Book 5. Now as these were talking in this way with each other, Diomedes of the great war cry made for Aeneas. Though he saw how Apollo himself held his hands over him, he did not shrink even from the great god, but forever forward drove to kill Aeneas and strip his glorious armor. 3 times, furious to cut him down, he drove forward, and 3 times Apollo battered aside the bright shield. But as a 4th time, like more than a man, he charged, Apollo, who strikes from afar, cried out to him in the voice of terror, "Take care, give back, son of Tydeus, and strive no longer to make yourself like the gods in mind, since never the same is the breed of gods who are immortal and men who walk groundling." He spoke, and Tydeus' son gave backward only a little, avoiding the anger of him who strikes from afar, Apollo, who caught Aeneas now away from the onslaught and set him in the sacred keep of Pergamos, where was built his own temple. So you see that Diomedes is strong enough to challenge a god, who are immortal and men who walk, and he is actually about to do harm, strong enough to challenge a god, who are immortal and men who walk groundling. He spoke groundling.
Warning, warning.
And he is actually about to do harm. But when Apollo tells him to stop, he does so. The great prowess that Diomedes has through the end of the boss fight shades into the idea that in demonstrating prowess, you learn how to be a paragon of excellence in every way. Excellence not only on the battlefield, but also in being able to perceive what the limits of one's life are. And this becomes even more important when we move into talking about Achilles, who really does push the boundaries of what it means to be a great warrior and whether that really is compatible with being a good person. So those are the 3 points about Aristeia: the backdrop of the standard battle books, the standing out from the backdrop, and then finally the way that standing out, that excellence, begins to make the bard, make the performance of the poem, make the audience question what it means to be a good warrior and what it means to be a good person.